everyone. Welcome to the Lawyer Lifter Podcast, or Mel's Minutes, where I talk about lifting, life, and business. Hi, everyone. Welcome to a Mel update here on the Lawyer Lifter Podcast. We're going to go over some big updates: a puppy, giant baby, giant husband, 2 houses, Mel the landlord. So tune in, and here we go. Hi guys, here is a very intimate episode on the Lawyer Lifter Podcast. I'm just going to give you a Mel update. And let me start off by saying I make poor life decisions. My therapist actually, and I'm very proud of this, is that I regularly see my therapist every 2 weeks. And I've had her since 2018. And she was telling me, maybe you should, stop eating so much of life. Like, bring it back a little. And I was like, oh my gosh, what do you mean? And she started listing off all of the things that, are happening in a very short amount of time. And so if I list these things and we're going to say them out loud, it will appear to you like very poor life decisions. So, where we're recording now is where I currently live, in a townhome that I purchased in 2021, and now it is going to be ready to rent out to a prospective tenant, because in my brain I'm like, you know what? I can do this, I can be a landlord and I can rent out my property. At the same time, my mom, she's in not the greatest health. She had some early onset dementia, Alzheimer's, and you kind of like blink, and you as a child realize like you're growing up, and then your parents are also growing in their years, and you realize like life goes very full circle. And so what had happened was that I had decided like, okay, my mom just can't live by herself, and I was in the market to move out of here, and I was looking for bigger space, especially because I had become pregnant in 2022, 2023, and then in a really weird stroke of genius and not so genius, decided like, okay, let me buy my mother's home, which is actually my childhood home in Yorba Linda. And so that transaction occurred because I've never ever been one of those people to be like, let me have a handout. Like I was crazy when I was growing up. I up and left my parents' home like in the middle of the night, literally, when I was 22, because I had this like, again, stroke of genius, not genius, that like I will never know how strong and independent I am if I don't just up and leave. And that's what I did at like 23 years old in the middle of law school, and I never looked back. And so with this, I wanted it to be fair and square with my mom. And then what happened was that purchase occurred, I would say, late 2023. And the Yorba Linda home is under extreme reconstruction. You guys would have seen some snippets through Instagram where my client details Custom Builders has been working on that house since April 1st. So it's really been a lot of fun, a lot of stress, but I realize it's awesome getting to work with my client very intimately on every single detail of that house, because it was just gutted and we're basically building a new house. So the bones of my childhood home are there, but I realize like my aesthetic, my home aesthetic is pretty masculine and clean and modern. And if I could have made the house talk, I would have. So there's a lot of like tech that is happening in the house. I think that's also how I run Uplift, like I am more about the functionality and about the tech and the efficiency with my business than I am really about the smoke and mirrors that you see in a lot of law firms. So concurrently, what's happening is that we're getting this place ready for rental. I've got a listing agent that is going to put this up publicly July 1st. So I am opening it up to my network before it goes public. The Your Belinda house is under major construction. My son's 1-year birthday is coming up next month, June 29th. He's actually turning 1 June 28th. And his 1-year birthday was already in the works, like fucking basically as soon as I delivered. We were already planning his 1 year. But what is the timeline is really kind of fucked up because his party is June 29th. And I told myself, like, number one, I basically just did away with the original vendors for his baby bash, and I wanted something different. And it's themed. His birthday is Bridgerton themed. And it just came because it's a play on his name. His full name is Winter Rain. And so the theme is Winter's First Rain. And so the timeline's fucked up because his birthday party is June 29th, but my client says that the ability to move in would be July 1st. So it's like, all right, that's a crazy ass timeline. And then on top of that, I get back on that competitive platform in 2 weeks. That's June 8th. So we've got that. And I'm pretty sure that that it's just going to be insane. I just celebrated my 39th birthday a couple weeks ago and also my first Mother's Day. And I would say that I think about it, I had a little bit of a crisis knowing that I was approaching 39 because I'm like, oh my God, I think I'm halfway dead. And then I looked up statistics and we're living much longer. Women are. Sorry, guys. Like, women are. And so I'm like, okay, so maybe I'm not halfway dead, but I was looking at, okay, I'm 39. I definitely wouldn't want to be 19 again. Definitely wouldn't want to be 29 again. So 39, all right, that's pretty good. My therapist was saying, like, Mel, if you think about like what you've accomplished for the past 38 years, like approaching 39, like you'll see that, like, just pause and see where you're at. And I think that there's a lot of empowerment in being an older female because I'm a lot more settled in just where I am business-wise and financially. But also, I think that being an older female, you give almost, I say, like, there's negative fucks. Like, I give like negative fucks because you prize more of your time, who you're going to associate with and what you're going to do with your life. And I think that being an older female is empowering in that way, because you have more of the control and ability to just say, do, and act the way you want. So 39 was celebrated 2 weeks ago. And somehow, in the middle of this, I got it in my brain that our family should be expanded with another animal. And I have always been a cat person, but my son is blessed to have a nanny and her family who bring him around their animals, and they mostly have dogs. And so if you haven't really interacted with my son, he is like a boy. He's hardly ever in at home because he's outside. He literally only comes here to play. And so he's been extremely into dogs. So I thought, you know what, let me get him a dog. And so we went, I was April 6th. I will remember this day. The Brea Pet Expo happened, and I was like, okay, let's just go. I went with my nanny, John, baby, and my nanny's two daughters. And I'm like, yeah, let's just go. Let me do what I do, like the Mel litmus test, which is like, I'll just have my heart choose. Like, I'll just go by my gut. And we saw so many different puppies. We saw the pretty night fancy ones, the toy dogs, this, that. And none of them really spoke to me. And then I saw this black puppy, and I just was like, that's weird. Like, this is like a black puppy. And so, I'm like, let me just pause and like, let's keep walking around just to make sure the Mel litmus test is working. And then I approached the foster mom, and she did everything in her power, let me tell you, to persuade me not to take, his name is Slugger. And let me tell you about Slugger's story, because everyone's like, why is his name Slugger and how come you didn't change it? So this is why, and like, don't hate me, don't at me, don't whatever. This is why I don't like dog breeders. So Slugger's story is that he was born out of a litter. He's like one of four, and apparently the breeder did not like how Slugger's siblings and he looked. And what happened was breeder took mom away from the puppies and disposed of the litter in a box somewhere. And I guess this breeder was looking for a particular kind of look in the puppies. And so what happens when you take the mom away from puppies is that they will die because they need to eat. They need to learn how to suckle. The litter was found by the foster mom, Slugger's foster mom, and she did everything in her power to feed the babies. But like, no matter the nipple that you use, like, there's something about like mom's nipples and mom's antibodies. And so one by one, Slugger's siblings all died, and he was the only one that survived and was able to take onto the nipple. The rest died of asphyxiation. Like, they just couldn't learn how to suckle. And so hence the foster mom called Slugger Slugger. Slugger is a slang term for like someone who is a survivor, someone who is like hard hitting. You often hear that name like in baseball, like a go Slugger. And so I came to find out like why she was really like telling me, think about it. And, if you know me, like, if I say it, it's done. If I want it, I'm getting it. Like, it's done. And so lo and behold, I ended up adopting a Cane Corso mix, Cane Corso Shar Pei. But I recently sent his saliva to DNA, like, thing to really determine like what he is, but he's more Cane Corso dominant. And so if you know that breed, they're guardian dogs, and males get up to like 150 pounds. They're known to be very masculine, very menacing. And so I have this massive dog, and he's not even 3 months. He's like 40 pounds. Thank God we're moving to Yorba Linda because he can't be contained. In this family, what's ironic is that I live with giants. My husband's 6'5". My baby is like more than half of my length, and now my puppy is a horse. So I am the only small person in my family. We need to move. We're literally going to explode out of this current place. So Slugger is, I've never had a dog. I've never wanted a dog. And then, of course, the dog that I chose is this like massive dog. And what I found out like more weird about breeders is that they like, for that breed, they like to clip the ears and they like to clip the tail. And the only reason why I know this is because I've been very like protective of Slugger, because he needed to get his vaccinations. I've kept him very like guarded away from the grass. Like he just finished his last parvo vaccine and rabies. But the vet had asked me, "Oh, are you going to snip his ears or cut his tail?" And I was like, "What the fuck?" And he was like, "Well, personally, that's your decision, but I don't recommend that." And I was looking online, and I guess for the Cane Corso, they do that. I mean, this dog breed is already menacing enough, but apparently, like, breeders and some owners like to sharpen, like cut, like make them short and then sharp and pointy. And then they like to, I think the pit bulls, they do that too. They like to cut the tail and make it like a little nub or something. But what's sad is like, it's fucking painful. There's like nerve endings and all that shit. So, I was like, I'm not fucking doing that. I'm not cutting his tail. I'm not cutting his ears. He's going to be free and whatever. So, so that is the update. If I can't imagine anything further to add, but I'm pretty sure if you check in with me, I don't know, in a couple weeks, I'm accidentally going to add something else. So tune in next time for another Mel update here on the Lawyer Lifter podcast. And that wraps up the Lawyer Lifter podcast, aka Mel's Minutes. Catch this episode on Apple or Spotify. See you next time.